Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Ananta Koti Rashmind ki Jai. Namacharya Das Thakur ji ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. I welcome you all to Bhakti Sangha Japa conference call for this mid-morning session. Thank you all for joining. This is Shivani from Nashville, Virginia. Let us move to the next part of the session. Today's class will be given by His Grace Haridas Varya Prabhuji on the sacred vow of Margashirsha, session 21. May I know who will have joined this morning?
Hare Krishna Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, Guru Maharajas, among the assembled Vaishnavas. This is Kirtida Sundari Dasi. Thank you so much, Mataji, for all your services.
Hare Krishna, Kirtira Sundari Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Guru and Gauranga ki Jai. Thank you for the beautiful Bhagavad Gita recitation and all glories to your services, Mataji, and beautiful chanting. Welcome to the call, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga and all the assembled devotees. This is Yashovati Priya Devi Dasi from Chicago, Elgin. And very, very beautiful recitation, Kirtida Sundari Devi Dasi Mataji. And all glories to your services and all glories to Shivani Mataji's services to Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Yashamati Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Guru and Gauranga ki Jai. Thank you for your beautiful association. All glories to your services, Mataji. Welcome to the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Shivani Mataji. Dandat pranams to all devotees here. Jai Srila Prabhupada, Sumi from Chennai, India.
Hare Krishna, Sumi Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Guru and Gauranga ki Jai. Thank you so much for joining from all the way to India, from India, even though it's so late in India. Welcome to the call, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances. Welcome to the call. Let me start by sharing Srila Prabhupada's call before I hand over the call to you. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Once again, I welcome you all for this mid-morning session, Bhakti Sangha Japa conference call. I would like to start by sharing a quote by Srila Prabhupada. As soon as a man sees the breast and this armpit of a young woman, then he is finished. And so long he will be charmed with these, he has to take birth again and again. Washington, D.C., July 2nd, 1976. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Today we are very fortunate to have His Grace Haridas Varya Prabhuji. Prabhuji will be enlightening us on the sacred vow of Margashirsha, session 21. Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. Haridas Varya Prabhuji, thank you for giving a valuable time and a wonderful association this morning. Waiting eagerly to hear from you. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Guru and Gauranga ki Jai. I hand over the call to you. Please take over. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you very much. Very apt Prabhupada's quote today. And Srila Prabhupada's quote today mentions about our vision, which is fully, if it is lusty in nature, then it makes us take birth in this material world again and again and again. However, we have the transcendental texts and poems and such wonderful work by Andal and the other acharyas, which purifies our vision and which helps us to see and transform our vision from this lust to love. And one such literature work is Tirupavai, which is what we are discussing about. And we would continue to churn the nectar of verse number 18. Till now, we have been discussing one verse per class, but this particular verse is one of the very, very famous verses amongst the 30 verses that we have. So we split this class into two into nature. We will have a quick recap, and then with that, we will try to conclude the dimensions and the meanings of this verse. Time is limited. How much ever we want to speak about the Lord, the topics are galore. However, we will take the blessings of our acharyas through Mangalacharan and try to glorify the Lord in the limited short span of time that we have. With that, we will all pray to our predecessors, acharyas, preceptors, and also to the Lord to shower us with those pure vision of love through which we can understand these transcendental, intimate pastimes between him and his consorts. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsham Shri Rupam Sagrijatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Taptakanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Vayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yatkripatamahamam vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanyeshwaram Hari Om Tat Sat. So I welcome each and every one of the Bhakti Sangha Japa group to our session number 21, in fact, but we are still talking about verse number 18. So before we go into the second part, I would like to give a quick recap of where we are for those who are joining us new and those who are joining us after a good amount of time. It's very important to understand the context and the historical story context of where we are. The story so far is that Andal and her 5 lakh gopis have taken the sankalpa or taken the vow of taking early morning bath in Yamuna river. They are following in the footsteps of the Vraja Kumarika, who are the young gopis of Vrindavan who performed the Katyayani Vrata. And they have taken this sankalpa that they will gather early in the morning. And after gathering, they will all go towards the bank of Yamuna and take a bath. So the first 5 verses, we see how the purpose, the call for action, the result, and what are the results desired by each and every gopi, which is none other than a hidden desire in their heart to make Krishna as their husband. So they're performing this vow in the footsteps of the gopis of Vrindavan to attain Krishna as their husband. When we saw the second part of the story, or the second part of the pastime, where they all assembled as they had promised, but they found out very soon that they're missing the key personalities. They're missing their friends. They're missing those individuals, those who are prime leader gopis. So then the next 10 verses, from verse number 5 to 15, I've spent on describing and waking up each of these gopis. And we went through each one of them. They have a different character. And Andal is successful in waking up all the gopis, all the 10 of them. And now she has the entire 5 lakh gopis ready to walk towards Mother Yamuna. And that's when then they realized that the elders within the village, they had mentioned that while they walk towards Yamuna, they should have a security guard who is none other than Krishna. In fact, it was like a punishment given to Krishna to wake up early in the morning in the fridge and in the chill of the morning. He has to accompany all these 5 lakh gopis and help them perform their vow. So this was music to the ears for all the gopis. And when they saw that Krishna had not arrived to perform this duty as a security guard to walk along with them, they thought, why don't we go to Nanda's mansion and wake up Krishna? Seems like he is also asleep. So that is the third story that we see, where you see on the picture out here, that they all walk towards Nanda's mansion, and they request the watchman who is standing at the outside compound wall, and they take entry from him. And then they talk glorifications of none other than the guard who is standing just next to the door of the mansion. And they take the permission from him, and they all barge inside the bedroom where these personalities, wonderful personalities, they are asleep. Who are the personalities? We see them in different beds. Bed number 1, you have the father-in-law. Why do I call him the father-in-law? Because all the gopis, all the 5 lakh gopis along with Andal want Krishna to be their husband. And if Krishna is their husband, his father becomes their father-in-law. So who is that? Nanda Maharaj. He's lying down in the first bed. She glorifies him first. Then she glorifies Yashoda. And who is Yashoda? Mother of Krishna. And Vrindavan, 10 years of his life, he's celebrated in Vrindavan under the care of Mother Yashoda. Second, she tries to wake her up. Then we have Krishna. And then we have Balaram. So we saw that how she wakes up Balaram, and she says that you are supposed to be the mattress for Krishna. And how is that the mattress itself is asleep? And she first wakes up the mattress, which is none other than Anant Shesh, which is none other than Balaram. And then she tries to wake up Krishna. So all this we saw till date. And we saw that how Nanda Maharaj has woken up, Yashoda has woken up, Balaram has also woken up, but the gopis find that Krishna is still sleeping. And that's when we go to the 4th section of the pastime. Everything remains the same. And suddenly that's where this verse number 18 comes up, where we see that Nanda Maharaj, Yashoda, and Balaram, they have woken up. But there is one more personality out there who is known as Nappinai. And this is a verse which is specifically speaking about Nappinai. And we saw in the previous session, who is this Nappinai? And we saw the references from Srimad Bhagavatam, and we saw all the references from other scriptures like Harivamsha and also Mahabharata, and all these different verses that we saw, where we defined that Nappinai is none other than Nila Devi, and she is none other than Nagnajiti, who is Kumbha's daughter. And she was born to the brother of Yashoda, and he is known as Kumbha or Kumbhakan, as he is known in the southern part of India. And in the northern part of India, he is known as Nagnajit. So like this, we established one of the Ashta Bharyas, or the consorts of Krishna. She's the Kumbha's daughter. She's also known as Bhadra. And she was, her hand was won by Krishna right at the young age by defeating the 7 bulls. So we saw all those pastimes of how he defeated the 7 bulls. And some say he became a youthful boy and he defeated the 7 bulls when he became a prince. And there are some pastimes in the south where they mention that he defeated these 7 bulls while he was a small child. And Nappinai, who is the daughter of Kumbha, was given to Yashoda to be living in their Nanda's mansion right from their childhood. But we ended up the session last week by mentioning about 3 things. There were 3 outstanding questions which were asked by acharyas. They mentioned that, let's go to one verse before. When we discussed about these verses, we saw that there was Nanda Maharaj, Yashoda, Krishna, and Balaram, and all of them were in their respective beds, one next to each other. But as we approach verse number 18, so this was verse 17, and as we approach verse number 18, we find a new character. Number 1, we find a new character, Nappinai. So if there is a new character in 18, she has to be there in 17 when they entered the room. how come she just entered now? So where was she when they were appearing in verse number 17? So verse 18 to 20, there is a mention of this character Nappinai who was not there in verse 17. So where did she appear from? That's one question that we need to answer. The second question which is mentioned is that in verse 18, it is mentioned Krishna, who is a youthful prince now, is in his private quarters with Nappinai in a separate room. So two questions arise here. How did the young baby Krishna, who was still verse number 17, who was sleeping just next to Mama and Papa, that is Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda, and with his elder brother Balram, suddenly became youthful in verse number 18? And how is he having a consort and he's enjoying his pastimes in a private room? Question number 3 is, where did this private room come from? How did it arrive in Nanda's mansion? This was not so in the previous verse. So all these three logical questions we have, and it is very imperative for us to answer these questions. So let's look at the verse once more and let us revisit the verse. And through that verse, let's try to understand all these different meanings of what the acharyas want to convey, and also these hidden answers of how Krishna, who is a baby, suddenly in verse 17 became a youthful prince in verse number 18. Where did that room come from? And finally, we'll also find out where did Nappinai, this character, enter all of a sudden inside the private bedroom of Nanda Maharaj, Yashoda, Balram, and Krishna. So let's look at today's verse, and this verse is packed up with so many different meanings, and it has so many different wonderful layers and dimensions of meanings from the acharyas. So let's read the sloka. Undu madakkalittan odada tolvaliyan nandagopalan marumahale nappinnai gandam gamanam gureli kadaittaravai Vandengam Kori Ayatanagan, Madavi Pandal Mail, Palgal Kuri, Irangan Kuvinagan, Pandar Virali, Un Maitunan Per Pada, Senda Marakayal, Shirar Valevalipa, Vandat Teravai, Magindelo, Rembavai. So, this beautiful verse, it means so that we learnt the verse to verse translation, which is to say, the first two verses mention about Undu Madakalittan Odada Tolvaliyan Nandagopalan Marumahale Nappinnai. Marumahale means Bahu, or Marumahale means daughter-in-law. So the first two lines are again glorifying none other than the father-in-law. And we saw that how much Andal glorifies her father-in-law Nanda Maharaj. In fact, Yashoda's mentions are little lesser, and Nanda Maharaj's mentions are greater. The scriptures always mention about Yashoda Maya and her love, and Nanda Maharaj's mentions are lesser, but not in the case of Andal. Andal and the gopis, they are always glorifying. When they reach the guard of the mansion, they say that you are the great servant of Nanda Maharaj. When they meet Nanda Maharaj, they say he's the protector of Krishna. And what are they trying to say here? Nanda has the strength of a tusker with dripping fat. Does that mean that Nanda is a wrestling bodyguard? Nanda Maharaj is so strong. They are saying Nanda has the strength of a tusker with dripping fat because he takes delight in fighting the elephants. Wait. Where did Nanda Maharaj fight the elephants? We always hear that Krishna fought the elephant. We also hear Krishna saved the elephant, right? So, my dear devotees, when did Krishna fight the elephant? Which elephant are we talking about?
Kuvalyapida.
Kuvalyapida. Absolutely right. Kuvalyapida, while he tromped his way into Mathura, he fought with Kuvalyapida. And we also know that how he dragged Kuvalyapida. And with the tail between its legs, he dragged him to 12 bow lengths. And we saw how he performed that pastime. And which is the elephant that he protected?
Gajendra.
So now there is a common question. How Krishna can defeat an elephant if he doesn't have practice? There has to be some kind of practice. In Nanda Maharaj, in Vrindavan, he is always playing out with cows or elephants?
Cows.
Cows.
So he's playing with cows. So how come he can tackle an elephant? Bulls are still okay. Ariktasur, he could tackle them. Bull, a rogue bull also he can, because cows, bulls are the same bovine creatures. But these pachyderms, these elephants, how is he managing that? The Sri Vaishnava Acharyas, they mentioned very beautifully that these elephants, there were many, many elephants in Nanda's courtyard. Prabhu, this is far exaggeration. Already we are finding it difficult to understand 9 lakh cows in Nanda's courtyard. Now there are elephants. Yes, Vasudev had a lot of elephants. And it is mentioned in one of the Acharya's commentaries that Vasudev told Nanda Maharaj to take care of all these elephants while he is there in Mathura. And so there were a lot of elephants in Nanda's courtyard, and Krishna was accustomed to play with elephants as well. And it is also said in our Gaudiya scriptures, and it is also said in Gopal Champu, that all kinds of animals and all kinds of seasons are simultaneously present in Vrindavan. It's not that one animal is present and the other is extinct. It doesn't happen like that. All the animals, all the birds, all the crustaceans, all the bees, all the bugs, all of them are present in Golok Vrindavan, in Gokul Vrindavan at the same point of time. So it's not that elephants are not there in Vrindavan. In fact, Nanda Maharaj had a lot of elephants. But still, why is Nanda Maharaj being compared to as the one who is having the strength of a tusker? Indirectly, the gopis are trying to say, Krishna is so excellent. His shoulder strength is so great that he can even win over a mad elephant, which is dripping with fat. That means a very heavy elephant. But where does the son get his traits from? The son gets his trait from his father. Like father, like son. So indirectly, they're finding a way, rather than glorifying Krishna directly, they're glorifying the father of Krishna, who is none other than their father-in-law, Nanda Maharaj. But why are they mentioning about his shoulder? Because they're saying this elephant is really mad and it's running here and there. So indirectly, they're also saying that this elephant is very beautiful to look at. And who is that elephant they are indirectly mentioning about? Mentioning about Krishna. And there are many elephants in the courtyard. And they say that a gait of an elephant is compared to the gait of the Lord. Gajaraja Viraja Jagaja Mandagati. So Gajaraja Viraja Gaja Mandagati. That means the Lord's gait. Even when we take the Lord in the palki and we try to walk, we walk the way the elephant walks. Because the gait of the elephant is very beautiful. And the Lord also, when he goes out in procession in the deity form, or when he walks down the road, it is also mentioned in Ramayana that when Lord Ramchandra takes a walk down the Ayodhya's road, he has this beautiful gait of an elephant. But this elephant is dripping with fat. Unda madagalitta. Madagalitta means one who is having a lot of mada. It's dripping with fat. It is in the heat. That means lot of shenanigans are happening in the courtyard of Nanda by none other than this tusker, this beautiful gaited elephant who is none other than Krishna. But he's a baby Krishna. And to take that elephant on the shoulder, one needs to have strong shoulders. That means Nanda Maharaj is taking him on his shoulder and walking across all of the courtyard. Such a beautiful scene. The father is taking the son on the shoulders. And he's also taking the responsibility of such a divine child who is none other than Krishna. And he is also taking all the shenanigans of Krishna on his shoulder. So they're glorifying the shoulder of Krishna, who has defeated Kuvalya Pitha in Mathura. And they're also glorifying the shoulder of Nanda Maharaj, saying that you are the one who is carrying Krishna on your shoulders. So all glories to you, Nanda Maharaj. But that is fine. This shloka was not about Nanda Maharaj. This shloka was about none other than Napinai. So we saw all of that, Napinai, whom she is. But before that, we need to go a little bit more deeper into this elephant comparison. And that is why we have here the strength of Nanda Gopa. We mentioned that he has the strength of an elephant to run behind Krishna, to follow Krishna and his shenanigans and his mischievous pranks. He has his strength. Nanda Gopa has his strength to manage great cows and he has all these big cows to manage them. The bulls, to manage them is difficult, but he has also the strength to manage such mad elephants who are there in his courtyard. And he has also the financial strength to maintain many cows, fine, but to maintain one elephant is very difficult in terms of finance. I come from the land of Kerala, and it's the land of elephants as well, along with the coconut trees. And I have personally seen many families who take care of an elephant. It's very difficult financially to feed an elephant every day, a domesticated elephant every day, and to maintain, to bathe him in the river, to have a real estate which is capable of such a large animal to roam around the house and feel at home. To maintain an elephant is very difficult. You need a great financial strength. And here indirectly, the gopis are mentioning that you are the commander-in-chief of all the gopas, so you have the financial strength. You're from the Vaishya community, but you are financially capable of not maintaining one elephant, but all the elephants of Vasudeva. And you are the caretaker of all these elephants. And we also have a great elephant amongst us, Krishna, and you are taking care of him as well. So all glories unto you. So indirectly, they are glorifying the strength of Nandagopa, their strength of their father-in-law. But why is Krishna mentioned as an elephant? This is something to ponder. While we can understand Kuvalya Pita's reference, how is the Lord mentioned as an elephant? And what are the similarities between the Lord and the elephant? The Shastras explain. In fact, if you look at it, the elephant, when it wishes, only then the rider can ride on top of it. That means that you cannot just climb an elephant just because a ladder is being put up and you can climb, or you can climb onto a balcony and just jump on the top of an elephant. The elephant will use its trunk and put you down. A rider can ride an elephant only when the elephant allows it. Similarly, the Lord can be only captured by the jiva or the devotee by love. And the Lord has to subdue himself to that love. So the Lord wishes, and the jiva or the spirit soul follows. So just like the elephant wishes and the spirit soul is attracted, similarly the Lord also wishes. Of course, there is the free will of the jiva to love the Lord completely, but the Lord also gives in. And when he gives in, that's when we completely experience the beautiful devotion towards the Lord. And if you look at the elephant very closely, and when it is about to be tied to a rope or to a tree, the elephant itself will pick up the rope and give it to its mahout. You don't have to really take the rope and make the elephant stand there and tie its leg to the tree. Not required. The elephant only will say that take this rope and tie it to me. The time is up. I will be here. He's very obedient. Similarly, the Lord is also like that. He gives the rope of bhakti to all of us. He gives that rope, gives that intelligence to Mother Yashoda and says, bind me. So he's like the elephant. And to capture a male elephant, Srila Prabhupada has mentioned it many times in his purport, to capture a male elephant, you need a female elephant. And similarly, the Lord is also attracted towards the feminine form, or his Antaranga Shakti, the internal energy of the Lord, or none other than Srimati Radhika, or the expansions of Srimati Radharani like Lakshmi, an expansion of Krishna as Narayan. The elephant always listens to its mahout. And similarly, Krishna is also bhavagrahi to his devotees. The elephant, it doesn't have many limbs. It has just one trunk and it acts as his hand. And the Lord also has his one hand to give, Abhaya Hasta, and then he carries all the different weapons and others. The Lord has many hands, but the one to give all the pleasure, all the blessings, he uses his Abhaya Mudra. The gait of the elephant we spoke about is very beautiful. Similarly, the Lord's Gajagati is very beautiful. And when the elephant, such a huge pachyderm and such a huge animal, when it keeps his leg on the earth, Mother Earth, we might be thinking that it might be a big tremble or a big burden to Mother Earth. But actually, the elephant's feet is very soft. Every time the elephant, you look at the way it keeps his feet on the ground. The ground or Mother Earth feels as if it's like a sponge which is hitting the earth. So similarly, that when the Lord also, when he walks on this Braja Bhumi, and when he walks on Mother Earth, she feels all her burden is completely eradicated. The Lord's touch of his lotus feet on Mother Earth makes Mother Earth feel that Krishna has lifted all the burden by appearing and crawling on Mother Earth. And that is why first he kept his knees, then he kept his hands. So we all know how a baby crawls. Harisuri says very nicely that Krishna, as he showed his Vaishya, he came into Nanda Maharaj's Vrindavan and he accepted himself as a Vaishya, and later he showed his pastimes as a Kshatriya. So similarly, first the Vaishyas are known as thighs and knees. So he first let down the thighs and knees on Mother Earth, and then he also let down his hands, which is the Kshatriya. So in this way, the Lord's touch on Mother Earth is just like of the elephant, which is very soft in nature. If you see even the children, even today, even adults or children, when they see an elephant walk through the road, they see these elephants and they are so flabbergasted. They're so interested to see the elephant. In fact, it's not that, oh, it's an elephant, I will see it later. They will watch the elephant, they'll watch it walk by, they will watch how its trunk moves. All the children will gather to look at the elephant. The bells on the neck of the elephant, it will dingle and it will cause a sound. There will be giggles all around. It's such a happy, wonderful sight of how the elephants, they walk, they play, they conduct themselves. And it's a sight of surprise. Similarly, when the Lord walks and the Lord is seen, it's not that you just see him once and leave it away. He can be seen many, many, many times. You feel like to see the entire act again and again and again. And it is also mentioned in the Shastras that sometimes the little remnants of a temple elephant is also considered as pure. Similarly, the Lord's remnants are considered absolutely pure to be given to any living entity. It's not contaminated. In fact, it is purified by the Lord's touch. And an elephant creates a complete profession in and around it. An entire community can live around the elephant. A mahout can take care of the elephant. Somebody can provide grass and leaves, so he will be having this profession out of the elephant. Somebody will be taking care of its dung and cleaning the places. Anybody who is in and around the elephant, his maintenance is completely done. Similarly, the Lord's devotees are completely dependent upon the Lord. And even though a person might be an atheist or a theist, he is completely dependent upon the Lord. An atheist need Lord as a debatable point to say he doesn't exist. So he is earning a lot of money. An atheist comes to a competition and says that there is no God. For that, the first assumption is there is a God which I need to negate. So if there is a God whom you need to negate, even for that, you need God as a topic. So he is also maintaining himself with the topic of God. And what to speak about theists and devotees? Those who are theists, those who believe in the Lord, they also speak unlimitedly about the Lord. So the gopis are so wonderful. The Andals and the gopis are so wonderful. In these two lines, when they actually mention the strength of Nanda Gopa in a very hidden way, they are comparing Krishna to this elephant. They're comparing the Lord to an elephant. It might look very mundane, but there is deep meaning from the Shastras. The Acharyas have explained it to us how this is possible. How it is possible. And it is very wonderfully mentioned that if you want to climb an elephant, it seems like the whole class is about the elephant. We need to get it to Napinai. Yes, that's why I said this verse is full of meanings. We are still in the first two lines. But nevertheless, when we want to climb an elephant, what does the elephant has to do? How do we climb an elephant? What are the different ways to climb an elephant? Anybody who has climbed an elephant or who have got on top of the elephants? Can they suggest how do they climb an elephant?
The elephant has to bend down.
Bend down, yeah.
Bend down. Absolutely right. You cannot just jump on top of it. So similarly, it is seen as if you see our acharyas, they always hold up a mudra like this. At least the Sri Vaishnava acharyas, they do. You see Ramanujacharya will be holding like this. Nimbarkacharya will be holding like this. Madhvacharya will be holding like this. So they have these two fingers. Like there's the thumb and there is the index finger. And they both will come together. So in other words, it's mentioned that the thumb is the jiva and the index finger is like the elephant or the Lord himself. If the thumb wants to reach the height of the index finger, is it possible? Can it by itself? Not possible. So to reach the tip of the index finger has to come down. Similarly, to achieve the Lord has to come down and the devotees conquer him when he comes down. So this principle is just like the elephant. The elephant has to bend down and the jiva has to get on top of it. So the Lord pays. So the thumb, the jiva, and the forefinger is the Lord. The acharya's pose indicate that the Lord is merciful and we attain him because of his mercy as a nature. But how do you attain his mercy? And that is where Nappinai comes in. And Nappinai, while she comes in, we got to know about her different meaning of the word Nappinai. She comes later, right? But we have these three questions that we need to constantly ask us. Where did this character suddenly enter? Because the verse says, Undu madakkalitta nodada tolvaliyan nandagopalan marumahale Nappinai. So while the first verse spoke about the elephant and we have described plentifully about the elephant and the comparisons of the Lord, moving ahead, she's saying, you are the daughter-in-law of Nandagopa, who is none other than Nanda Maharaj. And she says, you are the daughter-in-law. What is that they wanted to become? What is their hidden desire? What is the hidden desire of the gopis? Why are they singing all these 30 verses?
They want to marry Krishna.
So when they marry Krishna, they become Nanda Maharaj's what?
Daughter-in-laws.
So when they say daughter-in-law of Nanda Gopa, all the 5 lakh gopis look at Andal and say, yes, you're talking to us? She says, no. I am referring to that girl who is sleeping next to Krishna, Nappinai. So this word Nappinai, there is a meaning, because if you stop here, oh, the daughter-in-law of Nanda Maharaj, all the 5 lakh gopis, they believe they are the daughter-in-law of Nanda Maharaj. They want Krishna as their husband. That is their unique goal. So here they are giving a reference to whom, which daughter-in-law. It is like going to Tirupati Balaji and saying, Govinda, please come here. When you say Govinda, there will be 1,000 people who will be looking at you. Because everybody says they're Govinda, Govinda. So if you have a son or a relative whose name is Govinda and you shout Govinda, and everybody will shout Govinda, Govinda. So it's like saying that daughter-in-law of Nanda Maharaj, where are you? When you say actually that everybody was looking at Andal, so she makes it very clear, I'm referring to none other than Nappinai. Now comes the golden question, where did she come from? In fact, she was always there. In verse number 17, she was there lying very much next to Krishna in the same bed, because she was wedded off to Krishna and she was given to Krishna, and Kumbha had requested you keep her with you in your house and let her learn the ways of working in your house, Yashoda. So she was always there in the house. But if she was always there and she was in the same bed, how come she is not appearing in verse number 17? The answer given by the acharyas is that Andal is saying that when you are going and searching for the Lord, just like Dhruva, when you're going out and searching for the Lord, nothing else should fall in your vision. When you're going to see the Lord, only the Lord should be in your vision. And when they were approaching this verse number 17, and they wanted to approach and they wanted to see Krishna, they were only seeing Krishna. They in fact did not see Nappinai at all, who was sleeping right next to Krishna. And because of that, Krishna did not wake up. Because Krishna is sending a message that to approach me, first you need to approach my devotees. So Balram woke up, Nand Maharaj woke up, Yashoda Maiya woke up, but Krishna did not wake up. So when Krishna did not wake up, the gopis feel we have done something wrong. There is something, we need to go back to our basics and find out where did we go wrong. And then they see Mother Lakshmi as Neela Devi right there. And Nappinai, then they start glorifying Nappinai. So was Nappinai there? Yes. Did they overlook? Yes, in the excitement, because imagine the excitement. One whole day they have been thinking about it. And the next day they have gone to each and every house and woken up each and every girl, had all those conversations, managed to have conversations with the watch guard and the tower guard, and both of them, and entered the premises, have successfully woken up Nand Maharaj, Yashoda, Balram, and now they saw Krishna, the object of their vision, the personality whom they want as their husband. In that excitement, they called out to Krishna, that one who is as Vaman Dev, who completely measured all the three worlds. Why don't you wake up? But he never wakes up. And then they get to know, maybe we didn't wake up Nappinai. But that is understandable, Prabhu, that, okay, fine, she was there and they did not see her, and it is an oversight. Seems so simple, seems so gullible as young gopis. But where did that room come from? How come this Krishna, who is young baby Krishna, and is suddenly now portrayed as if he's a young youthful prince? And how come he has a separate room? He was right there in the bed. That's what the acharyas mentioned. We need to answer these questions as well. So Krishna has this capability of expanding himself and also turning back the clock of time. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Ye etam mam prapadyante tam sathaiva bhajamyaham, that he will reciprocate his devotees as they love him, as they are reciprocating with him. If we see him as just Daru Brahma, he will be like Daru Brahma. If we see him Sakshat Brajendra Nandan, Pratima Nahi Asti Sakshat Brajendra Nandan, like how that Brahmana mentioned it to Sakshi Gopal, he will be the deity who walks all the way from Vrindavan to give as a witness to that Brahmana. So Krishna can accept any role. And we have seen in the pastimes of Krishna. Can you tell me a pastime of Krishna where he has wound back time and he has changed his form for the pleasure of his devotees? Name me one pastime where he has changed back time, or he has become either smaller, younger, or older, elder.
Devaki.
Devaki, absolutely right.
And the Maharaj, Prabhuji, even during the
Maharaj,
Maharaj.
one more. We are talking about young children. Brahma Vimohana Leela, Vasundhara Mataji has rightly said in chat. He became the young boy, the elderly boy, he became everyone. He became the calf, he became the cow. So Krishna can reciprocate. When Mother Devaki said, please hide your two hands, he immediately did so. So Krishna is very reciprocative to his devotees. So when the gopis saw him with Mother Yashoda, with Nanda Maharaj and Balram, they saw him as a little child. But when they also looked at Nappinai and they had this desire in the heart to have him as an husband, Krishna reciprocated that as a youthful boy. And we see so many different pastimes where Krishna changes his age as and when to suit the gopis. He changes his appearance, he changes his ways, he changes his own form just to increase the love between the gopis and himself. So Krishna can assume this form. Krishna can increase or decrease his age as per his wish. He is the Supreme Lord. He is Abhigyana Swarat. And when the gopis wanted him as a husband, he showcases that. Prabhu, this is also fine, acceptable. This is the God quality of Krishna coming in Vrindavan pastimes. This is the Aishwarya quality. No, this is part and parcel of Krishna's qualities to exhibit that Shringar Rasa with his gopis, to exhibit that loving, intimate pastimes with his gopis. So he exhibits those forms. But Prabhu, where does that room come from? That specific room, where did it come from? It's mentioned by the Acharyas, one of the Vedanta Deshika, he mentions at this point very beautifully. He says that sometimes the jewels which are there in Vaikuntha or which are there in Golok Vrindavan, they are very resplendent in nature. And he mentions this in the Paduka Sahasram. He says that the Lord's Padukas, they have so many different emeralds, rubies, lapis lazulis, diamonds. They are embedded in the Lord's Padukas. And when they shine, they leave out columns and they display an array of beautiful colors, and they appear to be like strong pillars and columns of beacons of light, beautiful, reflective, resplendent light that comes out of each of those emeralds. And it is mentioned that the Lord is similarly wearing a lot of jewels, and while he's sleeping. And you remember we mentioned about one of the bangles or ankle bells that Balram was wearing. Those were also shining up bright. And what happened? It had many different kind of gems embedded in that bracelet or in that ankle bell of Balram. And when the light fell on one of those diamonds, it became a crystal clear white light. And that white light, resplendent light, was looking so formidably strong, and it was so thick that it became the walls. The white light coming out of the white, sparkling, dazzling, beautiful reflection coming out of that diamond became the walls. There was a brown gem, and that gem, when it was reflecting, it became the doors. There was a green emerald, which became the bed. Prabhu, this is too poetic in nature. Where do we find such mentions? Where the beautiful light can appear as if they are solid in nature. In my research, in fact, while I was reading this beautiful text of Krishna Hika Kaumudi, it's one of the very wonderful book which is written by, okay, let me just share my screen again. I just lost the screen. So in one of the researches of Krishna Hika Kaumudi, I was very intrigued when I read the evening pastimes of the Lord. And I want to share that evening pastimes of the Lord. And this is the evening pastimes of Pradosha Leela. And this is a Gaudiya literature which also mentions very much the similar way. And if you read this pastime out here, and I want somebody to read this pastime for me, it's this is a Pradosha Leela which happens between 8:24 and 10:48 p.m. These are the different pastimes that Krishna does at different interjunctions of time. And this is the pastime when Krishna is just about to go to sleep. Just before he's going to sleep, what happens? And we are talking about when he's waking up, what is happening? So what goes in when he's going to sleep, and how this room is created through the display of these gems. There is one line out here which I felt like, wow, there is a connect between both the scriptures. So can anyone read this paragraph? Can anyone
Should I read
volunteer?
Hare Krishna?
Please do. Please do. Please do.
Yeah, Mother Yashoda sits on a splendid seat to watch Krishna eat the kheer for her satisfaction. After washing his mouth and taking Tambula, Krishna offers obeisances to his mother. Yashoda warmly embraces Krishna and then quickly goes to her room to please her beloved son. Krishna reclines upon his bed, which is covered with fresh sheets as white as the foam produced from churning the milk ocean.
Pause here.
And yeah,
Wait,
and
Mataji, just pause here.
okay, Prabhuji,
Please,
yeah.
please take a note that first thing that we see as white, because this has to become the walls. The white as the foam produced from the churning of which are the fresh sheets. Please go ahead, Mataji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Brahmi. As Krishna rests his left arm on a large round bolster, he creates a most astonishing splendor. Krishna's pet parrots think the beams of moonlight shining through the lattice windows in his bedroom are a crystal rod. In their
Stop.
bewilderment,
Stop. Can you read this line again, Mataji? This is the line which gives away how the lights become as if they are solid objects. Please read this again. Krishna's
Krishna's
pet
pet
parrots.
parrots think the beams of moonlight shining through the lattice windows in his bedroom are a crystal rod.
Stop. So wonderfully, in this scripture, it is mentioned that how the pet parrots who are sitting, that means this is itself wonderful. Krishna is looking, he's about to go to sleep, and his pet parrots, they are looking at this booming moonlight which is coming through those lattice windows, and these god lights which appear through these windows, and they're just falling inside the bedroom of Krishna. And the parrots think it's a thick column of light. No, it's actually a crystal rod, and they have various different colors. So the parrots are fluttering in the sky with their feathers, and they are flapping their wings and trying to sit on this beam of light. But is it solid? No, it is just light. You cannot literally perch on those light or that moonlight which is falling through the lattice window. And the parrots are confused. It seems very much like a crystal rod. It seems very much like a solid structure. They want to just perch on it, but they are not able to. And what happens? Please read ahead, Mataji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. In their bewilderment, the parrots try to perch on that rod. Krishna enjoys the amusing scene. The small children surrounding the Lord burst out laughing upon seeing the foolish antics of these parrots. Krishna, through trying to be serious, can no longer contain himself. He laughs loudly and then accepts some tambula from his friends before going to bed. While relaxing on his bed, Krishna thinks about his upcoming pastimes with the gopis. Some servants tent Krishna's bedroom with smoke from burning agaru crystals, and other servants sprinkle fragrant powder everywhere. Hare Krishna.
What a wonderful scene. We
Thank
should
you.
always read these pastimes before we go to bed, just to have this remembrance of Krishna. And it was when I was reading these, I felt there's a strong connection here. I mean, it's not a forced connection. It is very similar. The Acharya on the Sri Vaishnava plane, he's mentioning how the Padukas also showcase these brilliant, resplendent light which is coming out. There's also mention of Govardhan, who has so many wonderful emeralds, lapis lazulis, etc., embedded on its rocks. And when the moonlight falls, and when there is Margashirsha, when the onset of winter, and when the moonlight falls, it just splutters itself. We saw that in the very first lectures of the onset of Margashirsha, how the winter is completely mesmerizing the deer, which is running here and there, hither and thither. So all these pastimes indicate that light, when they are reflecting through these gems, it's not that Krishna cannot create a room out of his will, but it's the beauty of how that room is getting created because of the refraction and the reflection of these beautiful gems and emeralds. If the parrots can get confused, the living entities can as well. And Krishna loves this. So this room of white walls, this room of none other than the brown gems creating the doors and the green emerald creates a separate room. But the acharyas are so excellent that they don't stop there. They also mention that this room is created so because it's also an etiquette. That while the elders are there, while the mother and father are there, the intimate pastimes of a Grihastha Leela cannot happen. And Krishna now is showcasing his Grihastha Leela, and that's why he's with Nappinai in this particular room. So what did he do? And what do they see? So we've just in two, and I've taken much time in this lecture to mention about this verse, and we have still not justified. We will take another one more lecture to justify the other parts of these verse. And this is very, very important. If you see that of our entire series, for this verse, we have taken the maximum number of lectures. And the reason for that is that this is such an important verse that it holds very, very close to all the Sri Vaishnava Acharyas. In fact, this is one of the Ramanujacharya's most favorite verse. And in fact, this verse made Ramanujacharya completely unconscious. So while we wanted to discuss about Nappinai, while we wanted to discuss about who she is, we have just again scratched the surface. We had 3 questions to answer in our last class. Where did that room come from? Now we know this beautiful pastime of how the room appeared out there. Was she there in the previous verse? Yes, she was. She was overlooked. And how did Krishna become a youthful prince? Because ye tamam prapadyante tam sataiva bhajamyaham. Krishna wants to reciprocate with Andal and others and showcase their inner desire, which is to be none other than the husband of all the gopis. And now they are focusing their attention on Nappinai. What is she doing? Gandam kamaram kuriyali kadaitteravai vandengam kori ayattanakan madavai pandal mel palgal kuri inangan kovinakan. She is actually sitting inside and she's sitting on the bed and she is having a flower ball in her hand. And on one hand, she is having Krishna. So now, how are they seeing this scene? Because this is happening inside a room. They all walk towards the window. And through the window, they are trying to see. And in fact, if you want to look at the pictorial representation of this, I can showcase you the pictorial representation here. Please have a look at this. On your left side of the screen, you see a pictorial representation. Here she is. She is lying down. Can you see? Let me make it full screen. Can somebody describe what is in her hand? Can you see it? What's in her hand?
Flower.
A ball, a flower ball or a ball. And and she has fragrant tresses. And she is wearing beautiful flowers on her braid. How do they know that she is in there? Because of this fragrance. Gandham Kamaram Kureli, that she is wearing these beautiful. How are they not confused with some of the flower garlands that they are wearing? Does anybody know the answer? How do they know that this flower garland is coming from inside the house only and not one of the gopis are wearing?
Maybe
How
they
do
are
we answer?
wearing different flowers.
They are wearing different flowers. No, actually, they had a vow that they will not wear flowers. In fact, in this entire vow, one of their conditions was they will not drink milk, they will not. So they had various different. Verse number 2, do's and don'ts. So they said that we will be austere and we will go and take bath in Yamuna. We will not wear fragrant flowers on our head. So they are not wearing flowers. So it's very easy to find out that, okay, here is Lakshmi who is wearing beautiful fragrant dresses. But why is she holding that ball? What does that signify? And why is she catching Krishna? Now, this is how they're seeing the scene. She's having a flower ball and she's having this beautiful tresses. And she's none other than Nappinai. She's Nila Devi. And Krishna is being held in one hand, and in one hand she has a ball. What does this ball signify? Why is she holding Krishna? Why is he still asleep? All these questions will come back next week. Till that time, let it be a little surprise for us to come back and dig deeper. We're almost time. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Gurudev ki jai. If you have any questions, comments, clarifications, feedbacks, we have not done with this verse yet. Still lots to go. But nevertheless, to go slow and steady on this verse is very important because there have been a lot of confusion between who is Nappinai. Is she Srimati Radharani? No, she is not. Is she one of the 8 wives of Krishna? Yes, she is. How is she different from Nagnajiti? All these questions, we're trying to go slow and steady and address them. We have covered the 4 lines of today's verse, but let's take this time to go step by step and now try to understand why she is holding this ball. What is the reason? What is its comparisons with Ramayana? Is there any touch of Ramayana in this? So all this, we will see it next time. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Yadatra skalitam kinchit vidvam satpurayantu tat yadatra saustubam kinchit tat gurur eva me nahi. So if you found anything which were a mistake or which I mentioned it incorrectly, you're all learned souls. Please correct them. And those mistakes are truly mine. And if you found something which is very interesting, of course, all those glories goes to Srila Prabhupada, the great Gaudiya Acharyas who have written so many wonderful scriptures, and also to the Sri Vaishnava Acharyas who have given us so brilliant commentaries to learn into finer and very esoteric aspects of this verse. And none of them go to me. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Open to the forum. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. Haridas Varya Prabhuji, thank you for starting the beautiful class with a recap. Very beautiful slide and very interactive class. And thank you for the beautiful comparison between the Lord Krishna and the elephant. And you also explained how everybody was woken up, Nanda Baba, Yashoda Maya, Balramji, but they forgot to wake up Nanda Pillai. Because as you mentioned that Krishna says, before you approach me, you have to approach my devotees. Excellent session, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. So grateful to you. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. If you have any questions or realizations, please go ahead and share. Vasuda, Prabhuji, Mataji, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. Dadar Pranams, Prabhuji. Beautiful. I mean, I'm hearing like something all new, and it's like nectarian. Thank you so much. And I'm feeling so fortunate to hear all these beautiful insights. And of course, I just missed couple of sessions earlier, Prabhuji. I'm sorry for that. So my question may be a repeat if it is too much. I mean, you can excuse. I listened to the earlier sessions. Napinai, who is she, Prabhuji? In just if you can explain, please, if it's okay with you.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a recap as well for everyone. So Nappinai, she is the daughter of Kumbha. And she is daughter of Kumbha. Who is Kumbha? She is the brother of Mother Yashoda. So you can follow the verse here. 1 second. Let me just take that slide and maybe you can take a screenshot or you can refer to it as well. Here it goes. So we covered it in the previous session that there was the brother of Mother Yashoda. His name was Kumbha. And he lived in Mithila Desha. However, Srila Prabhupada mentions it, he was in the Kosala Desha. So Kosala, Mithila, they already came together in Treta Yuga. So yes, a little bit of differences in terms of which Desha they were there. And her name was known as Pinnai. Pinnai means one who came later. So she was younger to Krishna. So Krishna came first and everybody had references with Krishna. So she was known as Nappinai because Na means very beautiful. So one who is very beautiful who appeared after the appearance of Krishna, and she's named as Nappinai. And it's also mentioned Pinnai means the back part. So her entire structure and her feminine form was very beautiful to look at from front as well as back. So when this was mentioned, she's also known as Nappinai. So, and all this mentioned, we mentioned it last week, that how he married and how those 7 bulls had to be tamed and why those 7 bulls have to be tamed, who were the asuras who entered into those 7 bulls, where is it mentioned, and these are the verses and others which we all spoke about in the last class. Maybe you can refer to that, Mati.
Sure, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Again, it's an honor retreat. Look forward to the forthcoming session. Thank you again. Hare Krishna Dandavats.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Parima Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for such a wonderful class. Prabhuji, this is I don't know what to ask, but Nappinai, isn't Nagnajiti in the Dwarka Leela? How is she? Did she migrate from Vrindavan to Dwarka? Or, it's kind of, I don't see the connection.
Yes, as we mentioned last week as well, there is one connect in terms of the prince as Krishna Dwarkadish goes and wins the hand in Nagnajiti, and then they win the daughter. And that's one of the pastimes that we see. And in the southern part of the scriptures, like in Yadava, Abhyudayam, and many others, we see this happened when Krishna was young. So how to correlate between both? The answer is there in this verse. Krishna sometimes can act, his pastimes can differ a bit, and his pastimes, he can be a youthful prince and win his wife, or he can be young and he can subdue the 7 bulls. So some scriptures have these differences, just like we see Harishchandra's pastime and also the pastime of Vishwamitra and many others in Ramayana versus Srimad Bhagavatam. There are some differences that we see, but this happened, we take it as it happened both times. It happened in Dwarkadish times as well. And if you look at the southern scriptures, it also mentions it happened when he was extremely small. So we accept Krishna can exhibit his pastimes differently. Just like in Nrsimhadev's pastime, in Nrsimha Purana, sometimes he comes out of he walks through the bazaar and he walks through the market yard and he enters the palace of Hiranyakashipu and kills him. And sometimes, most popularly, we see that he comes from the pillar. So Krishna can appear, Krishna can perform his pastimes in different forms, in different millenniums. And in the heart of devotees, he can exhibit the same pastime differently. And those are recorded in the scriptures or the realizations of the Acharya. So we take both the versions.
Okay, Prabhuji. But in the southern version, have they even mentioned that Napinna is also taken with Krishna to Mathura?
Yes, yes. In fact, there is Acharya known as Periyavachan Pillai, who has written a lot of commentary on Tirupavai and also Ramanujacharya's explanations. He mentions about this in his commentary.
Okay. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. It's really nectarian, and I'm really looking forward to the next session. Thank you so much. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Mataji.
Dandavat pranams, Prabhuji.
Dandavat pranam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat
Hare Krishna.
pranam. Very,
Welcome
very
back,
beautiful.
Mataji. Dandavats.
Thank you, Prabhu. I know I missed so many sessions, but hopefully now I'll be regular.
Yeah.
But thank you, Prabhu. It was very, very nectarian. I really loved. And of course, all the questions that I had, Parima Mataji has already asked. So happy to know that in Southern they have this thing. And of course, so she also went with Krishna when Akrura came. This is also.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu. Looking forward for your next session. Dandavat
Thank you.
pranams.
Dandavats. Okay. Back to you,
Hare
Mataji.
Shivani Mataji can take over.
Sure. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. If there are no more questions or realizations, I would like to thank His Grace Haridas Varya Prabhuji. Prabhuji, a lot of devotees are thanking you for a very beautiful class.
Jai Shri Prabhupada. Thank you,
Anjana Mataji is saying, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, extremely beautiful class. Amrita Radhika Mataji is saying, Hare Krishna, beautiful, exciting, excellent class. Thank you so much. Vrindika Upika Mataji is also thanking you for the heart-touching sessions. And Yashamati Mataji is also saying, thank you for beautiful, wonderful, excellent class as usual. So if there are no
All
more
glories to
questions.
Prabhupada. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the kind words. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. If there are no more questions or realizations, I would like to thank His Grace Haridas Prabhuji and looking forward to next Friday. Do I have your permission to close the call, Prabhuji?
Yeah, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Thank you for the
Vancha
association.
Kalpataru. You're so welcome. Looking forward to your association next Friday. Vancha Kalpataru. Vaishnavyo Namo Namah. Ananta Koti Vaishnavinda ki Jai.
Jai.
Shri Prabhupada ki Jai. His Grace Haridas Varya Prabhuji ki Jai.
Jai Jai.
Jai.
Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Dandavat
Thank you,
pranam. So
Prabhuji.
new, everything
Hare
new for
Krishna.
me.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Dear devotees, thank you so much. So we're ending the call.